All right, Tramily board meeting in session. Today's topic, kitchen. So, cookware. I started out with a Snow Peak cook set. It was a 750cc, way too big, way too bulky. Worked great, so cannot not recommend Snow Peak. I ended up going to the Tokes though, which is the one that Snapshot also uses, Tokes Titanium cook pot. I got the 550 mil, and honestly, I only ever had one backpacking meal that required more than what could fit in my pot. And typically, if the backpacking meal requires, X amount, you go less anyway. So it worked out fine. But definitely recommend Tokes. Would you recommend Tokes, Snapshot?
Definitely recommend Tokes. I use their spoon as well, which I love.
I had a long-handled spork off of Amazon. I couldn't even tell you what brand it was if I tried.
I don't think it has the brand written on it anywhere.
No, it's just a long-handled spork or spoon or fork, depending on how you feel about your utensil usage. You had like an actual utensil set, didn't you?
Yes, I had this random, I don't even remember where I bought it. I think a small outfitter. A like 3-piece set. It's just plastic utensils that are there was a knife, a fork, and a spoon, and I used the knife and not the knife, I used the fork and the spoon. I never used the knife. Honestly, I carried that thing the entirety of the trail, and I don't think I used it once, so that's something that I did. Just get a spoon or a spork, or a spoon and a fork. Dealer's choice. Honestly, You don't need to bring a kitchen knife.
You don't need the
really
things.
don't, because the vast majority of what you're going to be eating is going to be just dehydrated meals, but we're going to talk about that in a moment. The cooks, that's what I was, the stove that I used I had the bulkiest and heaviest stove. I had a jet boil, which honestly I really loved. I stand by it. Yes, it is a bit heavier than the MSR. You had the Pocket Rocket Deluxe.
Rocket Deluxe. That had the starter on it.
Yeah, he had just the MSR Pocket Rocket.
Mm-hmm.
I stand by the jet boil. I love it. If you're trying to go lighter weight, you would be much better off carrying one of the stoves that they were carrying. But I love my jet boil, and it has served me very well.
And to be fair, yours was the most fuel efficient, because you went through the least fuel canisters in the entire trip.
I went through like maybe 2 or 3.
No, you went through more than that, but it was not a lot of fuel canisters compared
that's
to,
right. That's like
compared to ours.
I went through like one less than them, which is saving like $5, but
Still.
And it depends on where you go.
Yeah.
I think I bought a $9 fuel canister one time. Yeah, it hurt.
I have you have the Pocket Rocket Deluxe.
Yeah.
I had the regular Pocket Rocket, which doesn't have the built-in lighter. You need to light it yourself after you turn on the gas, which is a little bit of an inconvenience, but you get used to lighting it. And the other thing is, I was the only person in our Tramily that had a real lighter, like a big lighter.
You got the big mini, right?
The big mini.
Yeah.
Any lighter don't weigh much, but it's nice to have if somebody needs to borrow a lighter, or if you need to, start a fire or anything like that. It actually came in very handy. So even if you have a stove and you don't need a lighter, consider carrying a lighter.
And you never had to replace the lighter fluid.
And
either.
it lasted the entire trip.
Yeah. I mean, I carried a regular lighter, and then I was like, I'm never using this, so I sent it home.
Yeah.
It was just a big, regular size lighter. But I loved having the lighter on the stove. It was super convenient. Definitely recommend. The MSR Pocket Rocket was fantastic. It's small, it's lightweight, packs down easy. The regular Pocket Rocket is smaller than the deluxe version, because the deluxe version has a wider burner on it too, but definitely worked fantastic. I mean, boiled our water great.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I would do differently on the cookware setup is get that adapter where you can suck the little bit of extra fuel out of all of those fuel cans that people leave in hiker boxes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One other thing that's semi-cookware related, knives. We all carried some sort of pocket knife.
yes.
I carried a Benchmade mini bug out, which was fantastic. And the only downside is, all your knives will start to rust a little bit because the AT is extremely wet. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind. Try to keep them dry whenever you can, but all in all, my knife worked out great. You carried one too?
I carried this random, like, $10 gas station knife that I got for free when my dad bought a trailer from somebody, and he included a pocket knife in it, so, it's a cheap knife that I didn't really care if it got rusted or damaged. Snapshot was carrying a much nicer knife. Kyle, would you like to tell them about your knife?
I had an Essex knife. I got it from Amazon. It was bright green. It worked as a neck knife for the first half of the trip, and then when the summertime hit and I was hiking without a shirt all the time, didn't end up using the knife. Ended up sending it home somewhere in New Hampshire because I just wasn't using it at all. But my Victorinox pocket knife, man, that thing was amazing, and I just kept it in a little pill pouch the entire time, and it never rusted, never had any issues with it or anything like that. The only reason to really carry a knife in your cook set is if you're one of those people that really likes to get the actual blocks of cheese or the blocks of summer sausage and you intend to actually cut it. Realistically, by the end of the trip, we all just kind of go animal on our food and just bite into it. Why not? So food, we discovered some really good and some really crappy brands of freeze-dried meals. That's what we did most of the time. I did package some of my own and it wasn't worth it, honestly.
Do we want to start complaining about the worst ones first?
Yes.
Let's do it. Mountain House is the worst.
Mountain House is trash.
Mountain House is your cheapest option and everywhere will have it, but the only good meals they have are the pasta ones, and they won't fill you up.
Yeah, I will say the biggest thing I can say in favor of Mountain House is most of them get a lot better when you just dump Doritos in there. Particularly the beef stroganoff, the beef stew. Take just a ton, a lot of Cool Ranch Doritos and dump it in, particularly if you use the recommended amount of water, because with Mountain House, let's say they recommend 2 cups of water for a given freeze-dried meal, you will want to put in closer to 1 3/4 to 1 3/4 cup or so, because if you put in 2 cups, it will end up overhydrated and just soupy, which is not ideal.
Yeah, most of the freeze-dried meals you get, whatever the water recommendation is on the back, do 1/4 to 1/2 cup less. Otherwise, you're going to end up with literal soup.
Yeah.
I think the only meals that took the required amount of water repeatedly were the peak refuels were correct 99% of the time. The Fernwim meals that we got were correct.
Good to Go is pretty good.
Good to Go is pretty good overall. I always put a little less in those ones though. But speaking of,
so what do we like?
What do we like?
Decent?
The Good to Go, you really like the Good to Go meals.
The Good to Go's are decent. You got to be careful though, because a lot of them are very spicy. So if you don't like spicy food, then you're probably not going to like a lot of the Good to Go meals.
And a lot of them didn't have a lot of texture variation in the meal.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of got old eating a lot of them.
They taste like real food. At least, so
those
are pretty good. But I think all of our favorite was collectively the peak refuels.
Peak refuels are absolutely incredible.
I mean, you got so many calories, and the food tasted the way that it tasted like real food. And I mean, they were $14 for the 2 serving meals, but you get
50 grams of protein and 1,100 calories.
But
it's
it depends
incredible
on which meal you get, because some of them were only $5.80. But really, really good food. The problem was we couldn't find them anywhere.
Yeah.
Shaw's Hiker Hostel has a huge selection of them, and then if you can order them off Amazon, get Amazon Prime to deliver them, or REI carries them, but they don't deliver them.
Hidden REI somewhere along the trail, definitely pick them up there.
And then
there was some other smaller brand ones that we tried, one-offs.
Yeah, we got the Fernwim meals, which if you can find them, which is a big if, they were really good. Really delicious meals. 10 out of 10 recommend those ones if you can find them. We ended up getting some at Trail Days, and Woods Bowl had them.
That's right.
The Alpine Air meals, a lot of places carried those. They were nah. I mean, they're
impressive.
Step above Mountain House, but if you don't have to get them, don't get them.
Yeah.
They are not the bottom tier, but
it.
That's the nicest thing I can say about them.
Solid mid-tier,
Yeah. So
low mid-tier.
Yeah.
Definitely Mountain House bottom, a lot of mid-tier stuff, and then you've got Good to Go, and then on the very top you have Peak.
Yeah, Good to Go certainly ranks above Alpine.
Yeah. And then
Peak ranks...
Peak's at the top, So, I mean, we won't bore you the rest of the day with all the rest of the food that we ended up hating by the end of the trip. But, when in doubt, ramen it out. That's all we got.
Bye-bye.